spotlight kind of blind my eyes. I'm very nervous right now. I apologize for my English as a second language. Usually when people hand me the microphone, I'm just going to sing, but today's your lucky day, I'm just going to talk. I came to this country 21 years ago. I became the citizen about 12 years ago. My husband and I have two beautiful children. We decided to raise our children in Williamson County, where we know this is the best place for, thank you, Lori. Ooh, I'm nervous. Let me start again. I have two beautiful children. We are a biracial family, and we decided to raise our children in Williamson County, where we know is one of the best school districts in the country. This year has been difficult, to say the least. I decided to keep my children at home. We do online school because of our family health issues, so we kept them at home. My oldest son he's very independent. I don't have to worry much about him. But for my 7-year-old, he had a hard time, let alone just like typing, learning to use how to use a computer. So I decided to sit down with him and helping him. First semester was difficult. We struggled to follow the teacher and understand how to navigate the software of the school computer. ELA began with a story about lonely little yellow leaf who couldn't fall like the other leaf. Finally, he found a friend and they fell together. It was boring. It did nothing to engage my child to read. Then the story about the chameleon who changed color to fit in. Again, another boring story. My child has no interest in to read. Then we study about Native American and the buffalo. This story was sad. The buffalo almost extinct. It was killed. Native American were pushed to the west. And there's a story about an Indian girl who had to sacrifice her doll to get rain. Again, it's another sad, boring story. I couldn't engage him to read. We have to analyze all this story and write all this story. It's been weeks. So finally, the Christmas came. We were so excited. The school over. We have a wonderful Christmas break, and we're glad that it's done. But so we hope that the next semester he will do better. At least his typing is better, and his computer skill be better, and so do I. Next semester start with this wonderful story about Dr. King and his beautiful speech, "I Had a Dream." And that is the world that my son and I live in. The speech has changed our country, and we both enjoy the story. It is beautiful and uplifting story that united people in this country. Then we learn about Ruby Bridges, a brave little black girl who was the first black child who integrated to New Orleans public school. In the book, we read and saw the picture of this little black girl who walked to the school with the 3 marshal. In front of the school, there was this angry white mob holding sign, calling her name. They don't want her there. The The story, we have to analyzing the story and read about it for weeks, focusing on angry white mob, protests, unjudged. So one day I overheard the teacher asking my son, well, now you know I have a son, that how would you feel if you go to school that day like that? My son's reply was, I will be happy and cool because I'm going to school with the 3 hitmen. That was his reply to the teacher. Then teacher pressed, what do you think that Ruby felt? His reply was, I think she will be nervous and sad because she is going to meet his new teacher. At that time, I thought it was funny that his response was so innocent. It's actually, that is his world. There's no evil and no color. So I thought we have to study about over and over again about how evil white people mistreated black people. Then we had to study about the Segregation Act of 1964, which my son found very boring. It was hard to keep him engaged. It's very dark and sad. My first wake-up call was when I read the word American to him, try to teach him to read American. I told him that you were born in America. You are American. He shook his head, sternly said, no, I'm not American. I'm Thai. At that point, I feel like it's something wrong with him. I don't understand it either at that time. He repeated asking me what color is he and what is he, which we never have this issue in our family. His world was colorblind. Now, we have friends from all over the world that live in our neighborhood. I have Chinese friend who live next door, Indian friend, Egyptian friend. On my street, there's no color. The kids playing together every day. We were all happy. My final straw was on Flags Day. When we were assigned to read the book about these 4 black kids who want to go eat at the restaurant, they were refused to be served because they were black. They got coffee poured on their back. They got, I think, ketchup or smoothie thrown on their face. My son was sad. He cried. We both agreed that it was a sad story. My child turned to me and said, Mommy, why did they do that to them? He couldn't understand. I kept asking myself, is my son too sensitive or if the other kids feel the same way? So I decided that night that I'm going to write a letter to the principal to address my concern about this new curriculum called Wit and Wisdom that is so dark, it's so sad, it's so depressed. And I think it's inappropriate for a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old to learn. Thank you. The next day, the principal called me right away. So I talked to her, and I was concerned about it, how it depressed my child. Week passed, nothing changed. Oh, she assured me that she will talk to the people, whoever above her, and but I heard nothing from her. Week passed, we still learning about the evil white people and victimize the black people. Then we began to read the story about this fireman who spray hosed these young kids who want to go shopping at this grocery store. In the book that we read was he spray hosed their clothes, ripped their clothes off, bruising their body, pushed them against the wall. That's what we spent days analyzing it and writing it, and we have to read a different viewpoints from the event. At that point, I sent another email to the principal, expressed my concern about this again, that it needs to stop. Because I thought that every week that passed by, I thought, okay, this is going to be the last day, this is going to be the last day. No, it's not stop. At the second email that I sent to the principal, I didn't hear from her. So I decided to find my son, new school. And finally, I found another school for him, which means he's going to go to the new school next year. I thought that my problem was solved. I began to share my story with friends and asking them how they like their new curriculum. Is there any child like my son? I found out that a lot of friends, their kids came home and said that the school is boring. It's a story about black and white, and they don't enjoy school like they're supposed to. So at that time, I decided to write a letter to school board and the superintendent to demand them to stop this curriculum. The superintendent replied to me, offering a customized curriculum just for my son, which meant he would be alone. And I don't want that. We studied about separate is never equal, about this Hispanic family that their child couldn't go to the same school with the white people because they were brown. We had spent 9 weeks on civil rights and reading and analyzed story after story about evil white people victimized black people. The nightmare for me wasn't over. 5 weeks later, I was in the bed with my son, reading to him about George Washington. He stopped me and said, "Mommy, George Washington is a lucky white man. He was born back then." I was speechless. And then he looked at his arm, pointed to his skin, and said, "Will they kill me if I were born back then?" It broke my heart. This is not the world that I want my kids to be in, or anyone else's children to be in. In his world, he's colorblind. And now, all I can think is those 9 weeks has destroyed his world, his identity. He hates to be American. He's ashamed to be half white. All he wants is to be Thai. I guess that's the way he's escaping it. Try to tell me that I have nothing to do with this. The evil act that happened in the past have done from somebody else have nothing to do with him. I feel very sad for him. And this is the reason why I am here today on this stage. Because I don't think this curriculum called Wit and Wisdom is appropriate for 7 and 8 years old. I wasn't trying to say that we shouldn't learn about it. The history is important. We all should learn about it when we are older. But when we are young, we could give them a beautiful story out there. When black people, white people, brown people we have the good story out there that we can work together. We have come so far. It doesn't have to start off this. It doesn't have to be like this, feeding him hate, ugly, and angry. I don't want it for my children. As a parent, I want to give them a better world. And I love this country. I don't want my kids to grow up and feel ashamed to be who he is. We can create a better world for them. While the wit and wisdom is only highlight on race and create further division among the next generation, I want my child to be colorblind and value people for who they are, not for their skin color. And he doesn't need to be guilty about his skin, or the other child should be ashamed of what their skin color is. I think I pretty cover everything. I thought it would be longer. Thank you.ฉันรักประเทศอเมริกาที่นี่คือบ้านของฉัน I just say that I love America. This is my home. Thank you.